The hustle and bustle of the New York Stock Exchange pauses for 9 holidays throughout the year. But for more than 100 times in the past century, the New York Stock Exchange has unexpectedly ceased operations for hours, days, or sometimes weeks. Over the years, numerous incidents have caused an unscheduled market-wide shutdown. We've compiled 10 notable closures throughout the years. World War I. In June of 1914, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand triggered a chain of events that led to the continent-spanning conflict. Operations at the New York Stock Exchange became stopped a month later until November 27th, pending the outbreak of World War I. Bond trading reopened with price restrictions, and restricted stock trading commenced a month later. Normal operations finally resumed in April of 1915. Black Monday aftermath. The crash of 1929 was not the single cause of the Great Depression, but it did act to accelerate the global economic collapse. There was nowhere to go but up, yet a small recovery did little to staunch the bleeding. Earlier that week, from Monday to Tuesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average mounted historic losses, still the worst plunge in history. Within the last 5 days of 1933, President Franklin Roosevelt ordered the close of the exchange. There were numerous early closings throughout those years due to market volatility. Civil defense drill. With the uncertainty of World War II overseas, the U.S. government wanted to make sure the country was ready for any possible attacks on American soil. Taking 26 minutes total, this would be the first time that the New York Stock Exchange would stop for a defense drill. These drills also happened 7 times during the Cold War. Presidential deaths. With the death of a current or past president, the market and nation have come together to pause for the day. This has happened 5 times over the course of 55 years. The assassination of President Kennedy on November 22, 1963, caused an early market closing at 2:07 p.m. Paperwork crunch. Too much paperwork caused the market to take Wednesdays off in the late 1960s. In 1968, the New York Stock Exchange found itself sitting on more than $4 billion worth of unprocessed transactions. Even in the heavy volume days of 1929, trades never rose above 16 million shares. Now, trading had risen to 21 million shares daily. National Day of Participation for Lunar Exploration. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The day after Neil Armstrong uttered those words as he landed on the moon, Nixon gave the country the day off to celebrate. The New York Stock Exchange closed accordingly. October 1987 panic. Rocky trading, which began in Hong Kong and spread west to Europe, eventually rippled to the United States, scaring traders as the New York Stock Exchange opened. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell exactly 508 points, or 22.61%, to 1,738. This date in the finance world has been coined Black Monday, referring to when stock markets around the world crashed. From October 23rd to October 30th, heavy volume forced the New York Stock Exchange to end days earlier at 2 p.m. First circuit breakers tripped. Regulators put the first circuit breakers in place following the market crash of October 19, 1987. 10 years later, and for the first time, circuit breakers were triggered as the Dow fell 554 points, or 7.2%, closing U.S. markets early. Natural disasters. Weather has had a history of causing market closure over the years. As Hurricane Sandy raged against the eastern seaboard, it closed the New York Stock Exchange for 2 full days. In fact, the last time the market was closed for 2 consecutive weather-related days, it was more than a century ago when the New York Stock Exchange kept its doors shut as the city braved the blizzard of 1888. 9/11. As tragedy hit the United States, 9/11 became the longest shutdown since 1933. A terrorist strike in Lower Manhattan, which destroyed the Twin Towers and cost more than 3,000 lives, temporarily disabled the U.S. financial system. Even after trading resumed on September 17th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 684 points, a 7.1% decline. The exchange also closed exactly a year later to mark the anniversary of the attacks.